How you doing, Phyllis?
Hello, how are you? Pleased to meet you.
You too, you
Yes.
too. So what are you doing here at the Urban Revival?
Well, if we got time, I'll tell you how it just kind of happened.
Just tell us.
I was having lunch up the street, actually right across the street, earlier this summer with a friend, and I saw David walking. And I said, that looks like, I know him. So I said, hey, and so we talked, and I remembered him, he doesn't remember me. I'm a few years younger than him, but we were raised around the corner from each other. And I hadn't seen him for a while. So I told him what I was doing. And I was telling him about the international community, a growing community that we have here in Flint, and how we're trying to integrate and interact with them to help reshape, restructure, reinvent, reposition Flint. And so he said, you know what? I'm putting together a symposium in October. I got to talk to you. So that was back in May. And then I ran into him again about a month or two upstairs. He was having some meetings, planning meetings for this symposium. And he said, again, you know what, let's talk. So we talked about a month ago. I told him about what we're trying to do with the international community.
Now who is we?
Well, we started out with myself, and then I partnered with a professor at the university, Michigan Flint. And they knew what I was trying to do. They knew what she's trying to do. They said, you guys need to get married and, put together this project together. So we have met, along with some other nonprofit organizations, on trying to reach out to that community.
To the international community.
To the international community.
Right.
Because right now it's very isolated. I mean, they're very to themselves. And we're looking at, bringing them in the fold in terms of being a part of the community at large.
Okay.
So that's, that's been our mission. And one of the things that we're finding is that they do want to be a part of the community at large. And they have some really good and interesting ideas and things to bring to the community to help Flint become a better community. Years ago, we had an international institute. And it was a place where immigrants could come and get their immigration papers and English second language and any other social services that they needed. It was also a place where Flint residents would go to interface with people from other parts of the world. It was like a hub. And it went under. For some reason, it lost its mission, lost funding, and at the time, there weren't many immigrants coming to Flint.
Right.
So it kind of lost its mission. Who would have thought 20 years later, we got students from Syria, from India, Saudi Arabia, Africa, coming back to Flint, to Flint, different immigrants from what they were back in the 60s. They were coming from Poland and, Russia and Eastern European. So we have a different mixture of immigrants.
Right.
And so we're looking at, they bring so much
Absolutely.
to a community. How can we...
This is fertile ground.
Exactly. How can we, maximize that? And so that's the whole intent for this new organization that we've founded.
Does it have a name?
It's the Flint Center for International Cooperation.
Oh, that's a wonderful name.
Yeah.
What do you think of the current situation that's going on in Flint and with the international focus that's been on Flint?
Well, that was the other thing, too, about, the international focus, of course, with the water, and before the water it was crime. So, that's even played itself out in terms of the water situation, for an example. There's a segment of the community that live in Flint that are immigrants that didn't know about the water situation. They didn't know.
Oh, they
You're
didn't?
not supposed to drink the water. And it was a language thing,
okay.
So it was an effort where it was like, we've got to go to the doors and say, hey.
Let them know.
Let them know. So that was just an example of how our community is diverse and some of the hurdles and the barriers as it relates to outreach.
Communication is so important when it comes to international communities.
Yeah. And it's a community that's kind of isolated, though. It's kind of over there. Yeah, we know they're there.
Well, everybody doesn't think, maybe I'm not welcome. People second guess their place in the community, too.
And you can understand that. Sometimes it's for survival based on where they're coming from or whatever. We don't know. But it's our effort, the cooperation's effort to say, hey, we're here for you. let's do this together.
Wow, that's so wonderful. It's so necessary.
It's so necessary because there's no one else really coming to the city. There's not an influx of people moving back to Flint. The people that are coming to Flint are immigrants.
Wow, that's something a lot of people didn't know.
They don't know that. That's the growing population that's coming to Flint, whereas everybody else is leaving Flint.
Well, Flint used to have a motto. David told me about this. It was cars go out and money comes in. Do you think there's a motto that deals with Flint now? Is there any kind of motto, or what is the model for Flint right now?
I don't know if there is one right now, and I think that's why we're so committed to helping establish a motto. I think of Flint, I say we're in transition.
Absolutely.
We're in transition. There's a whole lot of stuff going on.
What would you like to see 5 years from now?
I would like to see Flint be a multicultural, diverse, vibrant, international community.
Hub. It could be a hub. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
I'd like to see us bring back the concept of sister cities.
Yes.
With some of the immigrants that are here, how we can establish ties to their homelands and have a cross-cultural, exchange of communities.
Absolutely.
That could bring about more entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
The students that have come here, the students that are U of M and Kettering, one of the things that we found out that in the focus groups was that they were shocked at how ignorant people were about people, from Flint residents, about people from other parts of the world. They go out and just some of the comments that, kids, particularly young, and some adults, made about people from other parts of the country. And they said, we would love to be able to go into the schools and talk about our culture, our country, and just inform them what it's really like versus what they see on television.
Absolutely.
How we can really educate them. And it's like, if you don't have the money to travel, then at least you can be exposed by way of interacting with people face to face.
Absolutely. And there's so many things, because there's some diverse communities down near Detroit. Southfield was kind of diverse. Different groups. Oak Park, I live in Oak Park, which is a small city, but it has so many different groups in it. And we get together with ethnic festivals and all of this. Let me taste your food, you can taste mine. And it encourages conversation too. And that, I believe, is so very, very important. How do you think Flint can, well, I guess you kind of said that, how people can take advantage of the world is looking right now. So what anything else you see that Flint can do to expand this notoriety? Or because I'll tell you what it is. When I was coming up, Detroit had a riot.
Yeah, I remember.
And I happened to go out of town. I was a teenager. I go out of town, and the news media made it seem like all of Detroit had burned down and everybody had lost all hope and all this stuff. So you have to kind of counteract what the news media does sometimes, because when we look at Flint through the news, we don't see the happiest of stories. But people have not lost hope.
Right.
And that's what some of the news media has made us see, that some people had lost hope. All hope was lost.
Right.
And so you spend your life trying to counteract that. So what else do you think Flint can do to use its notoriety right now?
Well, it's funny you talk about the riots. I just gotta say that because I remember the riots too, and I was young, but I remember thinking, oh no, they're gonna come to Flint. And all that stuff, all that burning down. I remember being in bed thinking, oh no, we're next. But talk about the media. But what we can do to overcome this and to catapult this attention that Flint is undergoing, I think is kind of these things that we're doing today.
Yes.
And in injecting this energy into the city by this platform. Some of the work that some of the groups and people that you've already talked to, by what they're doing. And to really keep it going, because like I said, I think we're in transition. We are in a great position to reposition Flint to overcome this
Absolutely.
this negative information that's been out, and to really reinvent our city.
Right, you're not the first person who said that today, because right now, there's no place to go but up.
Yes, yes.
So,
Yes,
I
yes.
think that this is
Yes.
fantastic. I see a lot happening in the future for Flint, because there's so many young entrepreneurs.
Yes, yes. And these kids,
That's what-
I
they're
am blown
amazing.
away. I
They
am
are
blown
amazing.
away. Well, just take this, and this is what I hope to see. I would love to see a young Flint native and a native from Nigeria, student, come together and create some explosion of entrepreneurship. Can you imagine, the impact that could have here and on the other side of the Atlantic?
Right, and get that sister
And
city.
get that sister
going-
city stuff
going.
and make Flint like a model on that level, on an international level, because it's possible.
Well,
But
you're-
these young kids can do it though.
They can,
They
and they
can
have
do
the
it.
desire to do it,
Yes.
because many of us were raised to come up, go to college, get a job,
Right,
and this
exactly,
and that,
exactly.
and work for somebody.
Right,
And
right.
a lot of them, they have that
Oh, no,
imagination.
yeah,
and
that
they,
creativity.
And they see the needs of the community,
Yes,
and they
yes,
go on.
yes,
Well, Phyllis,
yes.
this has been great. Thank you
Yes,
so
thank you so much.
This
Yes,
is
I've
wonderful.
enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, your
yeah.
excitement, I love it.
Yeah.